So for this video, I'm going to show you how to make this crochet top. We will start with the corset or the base part. Kindly read the instructions carefully for you to customize your own size. First, start with the slip knot, and then continue on making chains depending on the length of your top. So I made a total of 28 chains for 6 inches. If you want your top to be longer, you can add more chain. Chain 3. Make a double crochet on the third chain from the hook. After that, you will continue on making double crochet on the remaining chains. So now we will start the pattern. Chain 2, turn your work. Double crochet on the very first stitch. And then again, continue on making double crochet on the remaining stitches. So now we have 2 rows of double crochet. Chain 2, turn your work. Make a half double crochet on the very first back loop. And then you will continue on making half double crochet on the remaining back loops. On the very last stitch, you will make a half double crochet using the front and back loop. Next, chain 2, turn your work. Again, make a half double crochet on the very first back loop. And then on the very last stitch, make a half double crochet using the front and back loop. So now we have 2 half double crochet rows and we're going to make another one. Again, you will repeat the same procedure. So the pattern will be 1 row of double crochet and then 3 rows of half double crochet using the back loop. Remember that on the row of double crochet, you're going to use both front and back loop. And for the half double crochet, you're only going to use the back loop. So after the double crochet row, you will repeat the 3 HDC rows using the back loop. Remember this part because this will be the outer part and on the other side will be the inner part. So I placed a stitch marker to determine the outer part because the outer part will give the texture. So after that, we will connect the two sides. Make a slip stitch on the very first stitch and then turn your work. And then you're going to connect the two sides using slip stitch. Make sure that the two sides are aligned to each other and every stitch will be connected. So after that, you're going to turn it so the outer part will be facing the outer side. After that, we're going to continue by making 2 single crochet on each row. You will repeat this all around. 1 and 2. Repeat that until you reach the starting point. Make a slip stitch on the very first single crochet. After that, you're going to make a slip knot and then cut the yarn. After this, we will proceed with the bust part. To start the bust part, first tie the yarn. And then, make a chain depending on your desired length for the bust part. So I made a total of 25 chains for the 5 inches length for the bust part. After that, chain 3 and then make a double crochet on the third chain from the hook. Continue on making double crochet until you reach the last stitch. On the very last stitch, make a half double crochet. and then turn your work. After that, make a slip stitch on the next 2 stitches. And then turn your work. On the very first stitch, make a half double crochet. And then continue on making double crochet until you reach the last stitch. After that, chain 2 and then turn your work. Double crochet on the very first stitch and then continue on making double crochet and make a half double crochet on the very last stitch. Don't forget to make a half double crochet on the very last stitch. And then make a slip stitch on the next stitch. Unlike on the very first row, we made 2 slip stitch. In this row, we're going to make 1 slip stitch. And then turn your work. Make a half double crochet on the very first stitch and then continue on making double crochet on every stitch. Again, I'll repeat, on the first row we made 2 slip stitch and on the second row we made 1 slip stitch. After that, chain 2 and you're going to repeat the second row. Double crochet on the very first stitch and then continue until you reach the last stitch. You're going to make a half double crochet. Make a half double crochet on the last stitch and then slip stitch on the next stitch. So that will be the pattern for the bust part. On the first row, you're going to make 2 slip stitch and then on the next 2 rows, you're going to make 1 slip stitch. This will give the bust part a ruffle effect. And you will repeat this pattern until you reach the stitch marker. After you finish the bust part, you're going to make a slip knot and then cut the yarn. So the bust part will look like this and we're going to gather it using a tie. So for the tie, make a slip knot and then continue on making chains as long as 55 inches. To gather the ruffles, you're going to place the tie temporarily. First, insert it on the very first row. and then count 4 rows, and then insert the tie on the 4th row, and you will repeat that until you reach the middle part. So now I gathered the half of the bust part. You're going to pull the yarn from the right side. And then you're going to use the yarn from the right side to gather the remaining parts. You will repeat the same procedure until you reach the middle part. So here how it looks like from the outside. You can pull the end of the ties to adjust the bust part. So here's how it looks like from the inside. After the bust part, we will proceed with the back part. First, you're going to place a stitch marker where you want to end the back part. To start the back part, you're going to attach the yarn on the left of the bust part. Chain 2, and then continue on making half double crochet on every stitch. So after you finish that row, you're going to make a slip stitch on the next 2 stitches. After that, turn your work. And you are now facing the outer side. After that, we're going to proceed with the back part. Make a half double crochet on the next 4 stitches. And then you're going to make a front post half double crochet on the next 2 stitches. Make another one front post half double crochet. So after the 2 front post half double crochet, you will repeat the half double crochet on the next 4 stitches. Again, after the 4 half double crochet, we will repeat the 2 front post half double crochet. And you will repeat this until you reach the last stitch. So after the front post row, you're going to repeat the first row or the half double crochet row. Chain 2 and then turn your work. Make a half double crochet on the very first stitch and then continue on making half double crochet on the remaining stitches. After that, you're going to make a slip stitch on the next 2 stitches. And then turn your work. We're going to proceed with the front post half double crochet. Make a half double crochet on the first 4 stitches. And then make a front post half double crochet on the next 2 stitches. And after this, you will repeat the half double crochet row and the front post half double crochet row alternately until you reach the stitch marker. So when you reach the second to the last stitch, we're going to proceed to the part where we're going to put the tie. Turn your work. Make a half double crochet on the next 2 stitches. And then chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and then half double crochet on the 3rd stitch. And you will repeat this. Make 2 half double crochet and then chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and then half double crochet on the 3rd stitch. And you will repeat this until you reach the end of the row. After that, chain 1, turn your work. Make a single crochet on every stitch. After you finish that row, you're going to proceed on making a slip stitch until you reach the starting point. After that, make a slip knot and then cut the yarn. And you will repeat the same procedure for the other side. Attach the yarn on the other side of the bust part. And then chain 2. Continue on making half double crochet on every stitch. After that, make a slip knot on the next 2 stitches. So here's the difference. On the second row, you will repeat the half double crochet row. So after the 2 half double crochet row, you will proceed with the front post half double crochet row. Chain 2 and then make a front post half double crochet on the very first stitch. Another front post half double crochet and then proceed with the 4 half double crochet. Again, you will repeat the 2 front post half double crochet and 4 half double crochet until you reach the end of the row. So the reason why we started with the front post half double crochet because we are copying the other side. So after that, you will repeat the front post half double crochet row and the half double crochet row until you reach the stitch marker. So now that we finished the bust part and the back part, we will proceed with the sleeves. And for the tie of the back part, make a slip knot and then continue on making chains with the length of 35 inches. After that, place the tie on the space provided. So I placed the stitch marker at the third row of double crochet. And then on the back part, I placed the stitch marker on the 7th row. First, attach the yarn. And then chain 2. Make 2 double crochet on the first row of double crochet. And then make another 3 double crochet on the next row. So now we have 6 double crochet including the chain 2 from the start. Chain 2, turn your work, double crochet on the very first stitch, and then continue on making double crochet on the remaining stitches. Make sure that every row there will be no decrease or increase. Chain 2, turn your work. So now we will proceed with the front post row. Make a front post double crochet on the second stitch, and then double crochet on the next stitch. After that, another front post DC on the 4th stitch, and then double crochet on the last stitch. So that will be the front post DC row. Chain 2, turn your work. Again, we're going to make a double crochet row. Double crochet on the very first stitch, and then continue on making double crochet on the remaining stitches. Remember that there should be 6 double crochet on every DC row. Chain 2, turn your work. Again, make a front post DC row. Front post double crochet on the second stitch, and then double crochet on the next stitch. Front post DC on the first 4th stitch, and then double crochet on the last stitch. And you will repeat these rows alternately until you have the enough length for your strap. So I made a total of 35 rows for 12 inches. After that, we're going to connect the strap on the back part. Make sure that the strap is not twisted, and then make a single crochet to attach it on the back part. So after this, we will proceed with the sleeves. So you're going to make a 2 single crochet per row around this part. Again, you're going to make 2 single crochet on each row. And when you reach the strap, again you're going to make 2 single crochet on every row. Continue on making single crochet until you reach the starting point. After that, you're going to make a slip stitch on the starting point, and then chain 2. Make 1 double crochet on every stitch. Repeat until you reach the starting point. So after that, make a slip stitch on the first double crochet, and then you're going to repeat the same row. Chain 2 and then double crochet on every stitch. So now that we finished the 21 rows, we're going to proceed with the increase. Chain 2, make a double crochet on the next 4 stitches. So now we have a total of 5 DC including the chain 2 from the start. After that, we're going to make an increase or 2 double crochet on the 6th stitch. After that, you will repeat the same procedure. Make double crochet on the next 5 stitches and then increase on the 6th stitch. Repeat this all around until you reach the starting point. Make a slip stitch on the very first DC. After that, chain 2. Make a double crochet on every stitch. There will be no increase in this row. Make a slip stitch on the first DC. After that, we're going to repeat the increase row. Repeat the increase row or the 5 DC and then increase. After that, repeat the row without increase. Now that we are finished with the increase row, we will proceed with the decrease row. Chain 2. Make a decrease or 2 double crochet together. And then 1 double crochet on the next stitch. Repeat. Make a decrease or 2 double crochet together. And then DC on the next stitch. And you will repeat this all around. So after that row, we're going to repeat the same procedure, but we're going to use half double crochet instead of double crochet. On the first 2 stitches, make 2 half double crochet together, and then make 1 half double crochet and repeat all around. So at the end of the row, make a slip stitch on the very first stitch, chain 2, and repeat the same row of half double crochet. Make a decrease or 2 half double crochet together. After that, half double crochet on the next stitch, and you will repeat this all around. After the 2 half double crochet decrease rows, chain 2, make 1 half double crochet on every stitch, and you will repeat this all around. Make a slip stitch on the very first stitch and then chain 2. Again, you're going to repeat the half double crochet row. You will repeat this 5 times. So at the end of the row, make a slip stitch and then another slip stitch on the next stitches to secure the yarn. Make a slip knot and then cut the yarn. So here's our first sleeve, and you will repeat the same procedure for the other side. So for the other strap, attach the yarn in this part and you're going to end it on that row. So first, tie the yarn. Chain 2. Make 2 DC on the first row. And then 3 DC on the next row. You'll just repeat the same procedure just like what we did on the other side. After that, chain 2. Make 1 row of double crochet. Chain 2 and then repeat the front post DC row. Basically, you're just going to repeat the same rows that you did on the other side. So when we're going to attach it on the strap, I didn't add 1 HDC row because it will end on the right side. Attach the strap and then you're going to repeat the same procedure that we did on the other side in order to complete the other sleeve. After that, we're going to place the tie for the bust part. So first, insert the yarn from the inside. Make sure that you place it where the bust part and the back part meets. After that, you're going to place the tie inside and outside, just like what we did on the first part. Continue this procedure until you reach the other side of the bust part. Make sure that the yarn will end from the inside. You should insert it from the inside. After that, you're going to pull the tie and fix the ruffles. So when you're going to wear this, the ribbon will be placed at the top of your bust part. So thank you for watching. For more crochet tutorials, feel free to visit my channel. And if you have questions, kindly DM me.